Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you, talking to you about you and your business. Got a lot to talk about, as usual, and I want to jump straight into it with my good friend William Edmundson. He is with Abbey Executive Suites. That's Abbey, ABBY.com. And I'm a great fan and friend of Abbey, as they have been, of the Price of Business now for quite some time. And I love the great work you do, love the great work you've done for the Price of Business, and love to see what you do for others, William. And glad to have you on the program.
Well, thanks. It's always a pleasure and always fun to talk about something that we enjoy, which is helping people out with their business.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little more about Abbey and then introduce your guest today, which sounds like a great one.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited. Abbey is a chain of executive suites based out of right here in Houston, Texas. And we've got locations across the city, across Dallas, New Orleans, and San Antonio. And I'm excited because today we have not only a client, but we have the brain trust, the guy who takes care of all of our IT needs, as well as those of, hundreds and hundreds of Abbey clients, and that is David Carson of Kinetic Computer Services. David, I know you have worked on everything from getting locations wired before they start, fixing day-to-day issues for us and clients, to even major issues that we have had. And I want to thank you for your service, that I want to welcome you to the show. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me also, Kevin.
Yeah, glad to have you on the program. Why don't you start with the elevator speech about what you do?
We provide technology support to small and medium businesses in the Houston area. These are businesses that don't have their own people on staff to take care of their problems, people on the payroll. And so we go out and do that for them, whether it's providing equipment or services, troubleshooting, installations, cabling. We try to do everything that a small business might need to keep their technology up and running.
Very good. Go ahead there, William.
Yeah, and David, tell us a little bit about who your ideal client is.
The ideal client would be the clients who are able and willing to make the upfront investment in, maybe it would be getting a redundant power supply or a redundant hard drive or something like that, getting some good backups or security systems in place so that we can prevent problems from happening in the first place. I would much rather see clients spending their technology budget on things that we can do to get ahead of problems. Maybe the person doing the billing in your company should not be using a 9-year-old computer, for example, because most companies consider their billing to be pretty important. And so if critical systems go down, your business is down for a long time. And a lot of that is foreseeable. So the ideal client would be people who we can work with to point out these potential points of weakness and say, here's what we can do to make sure that you don't run into these problems. I'd rather see them spending their money that way than spending it to chase after problems after they've developed.
And that's one of the things we really appreciate about David and his company is that, for us, with hundreds and hundreds of clients with their own businesses, we don't want to have any failures. And you can't avoid everything, but prevention really is important. But David, you're also able to come in on the back end. Tell us a little bit about the kind of issues that you're able to troubleshoot and repair.
It would be internet connectivity, email, getting your Wi-Fi set up. It would be making sure that you've got good backups for your data. Sometimes that would be doing backups on site to a hard drive or even a tape system, kind of old school. Or for a lot of clients, backing up to the cloud is important, or is a good option for them. And we also want to make sure you have adequate power running all of your systems so that if the lights just flash on and off for a second, we don't need every computer in the office beeping and booping and rebooting for 15 minutes to get back up to speed. So we'd like to make sure we have good backup systems on power as well.
Now, one of the things I've noticed about your business is you are able to come in. There are a lot of companies that don't really have a need for a lot of IT support. But one thing we see particularly at Abbey is people starting their own business or breaking off from another business and launching. And you're able to get people set up so they can focus on their business. Tell us a little bit about that.
We can get them set up. If somebody's moving into an office, they might need help just figuring out how to lay out the cabling, and then they might need somebody to put the cabling in. we can do that. We can help them decide whether to go with cabling or Wi-Fi. We can help them decide whether they're going to have their own server in their office or do they want to use the cloud. And we can even work with their phone vendors if they want to have some convergence between their data systems and their phone systems. And then a lot of clients, once we get them set up and running, if we do a good job with it, we may not see them again for a year because things are running and humming along, and that's just fine. If a client, we feel like we've done a good job if we set the client up and they don't call us back for a year, because that means that what we put in is doing what it was supposed to do.
Perfect. Let me jump in, if you don't mind, real quick, William, with a question. Let me ask you, is there particular sizes of businesses that you prefer to work with? Do you have a certain sweet spot?
There's not a particular size that we prefer, but I want everyone to know that if you're just a one-person office or a two-person office, we love to work with those kind of clients. It's very enjoyable. I enjoy going out and meeting the one or two person offices and just doing the little onesie-twosie hour jobs. Of course, Abby is one of my larger clients, and they have, I'm sorry, William, if I don't know the number, 15 offices in Houston, something like that, and about 70 employees, so we work with them too. But really anywhere, any small or medium business is just fine.
Yeah, very good. Go ahead there, William.
Yeah, and something a lot of people that listen to the show may be in the process of doing is the way business is growing in Houston and the way that people may be going out on their own is when you build out space or when you take your own space, there are a lot of things that people don't think of immediately, and one of them is how to get all the technology put into that space in the first place. And David, your company is really good at telling people what equipment they need, what's the most efficient way to do it, and frankly, I like the fact that you tell us what's overkill.
Right, because it's important to make good decisions up front. A lot of these decisions are easier to make before you've got the office full of walls and cables and furniture and people. And so the best plan, it's better if you can do some of the planning beforehand, and maybe you can make smarter decisions up front.
Yeah, let me ask you real quickly, and I want to make sure we get it out with only a few minutes left. What is your website so people can get more information?
The website is HoustonITExpert.com, HoustonITExpert.com.
That's very good. Go ahead there, William.
Yeah, and David, just to reiterate, you have a sweet spot not just for big companies like Abby, but for the small and medium-sized businesses and for the individual. I know that if I start my own company tomorrow, I'm in the weeds as far as the technology goes, but you're really good at getting people set up for that kind of thing. So you're good for the single person all the way up through the medium-sized businesses. Exactly.
Perfect. Got to wrap it up with that. Great conversation. William, of course, people can get information by emailing Abby, ABBY, at abby.com. But they can also check out abby.com, and that's a great website, by the way. Thanks a lot to your guest today. And they can also call. What number?
Yeah, they can reach Abby at 888-785-7800. Excuse me, again, that's 888-785-7800. And let them know you heard about us on The Price of Business.
Yeah, absolutely. Final thoughts with about 3 seconds, William?
We're glad to have partners like David and Kevin, you at the Price of Business, helping let people know about us, and we're here and ready to help people with their office needs.
Very good. When we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here can be found over there at usdatareview.com, and you're listening to